What's up and welcome to the channel. My name is Headshot and thank you guys for joining us. Today we have two Walthers on the table ready to go. Do this comparison for you guys because these guns are so close, man. If you're looking at one of these two, the CCP M2 or the PPS M2, you're probably going to have some questions because like I said on the spec sheet, these guys are very close, but there's some significant differences here and some ones that we really want to tell you about. So of course we have standalone reviews on both of these guns, so if there's something I didn't touch on in this video, go over and check out our standalone reviews on these guns. The PPS M2 has been featured in a lot of videos here, so we have plenty of content on it. And really quick, our patron of the week is Matt. He is a power patron and he's been with us for a while. We love having you guys join the SHOT team. So if you want to support our efforts here, make sure you go over to Patreon, sign up for as little as $1. You can join the team and get some pretty awesome content along the way. So thank you guys for your support. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, all of that good stuff, man. We really appreciate you guys. And let's go ahead and get started with the CCP M2 versus the PPS M2, and of course I am going to pick a winner because that's what I do. And let's go ahead and get started. All right, let's start off with the PPS M2 because this one has been in my carry rotation for a few years now, and I still love this gun. I love carrying it, and it offers a lot of great options. Okay, so you guys know that by now if you watch the channel for any amount of time. Let's start with basic specs here really quick. 3.1 inch barrel, an overall length of 6.3 inches. Height in this configuration is 4.4 inches. With this magazine, this is going to give you one more round. It's 4.9 inches, and there are 8 round mags available for this gun, but that's going to take you up to 5.3 inches. That's pretty long, considering you have an 8 round gun at that point. So obviously I like carrying it like this. All right, it's going to give you the slimmest overall profile, and carry this with a backup mag. Okay, the way I carry this, holster, of course, discounted through our channel just for you guys, and fully loaded up. This gun is a little bit heavier. It's one of the heavier single stacks out there now, but it definitely gets the job done, and I'm confident with this firearm, and that's a huge part of this, of course. But love this gun, and the features that it carries are just incredible. Now, if we contrast with that with the CCP M2 here really quick, spec sheet wise, this is where it starts to get a little bit confusing. So you have a 3.5 inch barrel on the CCP M2. Overall length is 6.4 inches. Height is 5.1 inches. Pretty big difference there. Width is 1.1 inches. And the dry weight on the PPS M2 is 21.1 ounces. On the CCP M2 is 22.3 ounces. Okay, so, well, whatever. That's just numbers. Let's look at them slide to slide and see how these guns stack up. All right, so try to get in a good frame there. You can see the CCP is a little bit longer. Not going to make that much of a difference. Appendix carry, maybe you'll notice a difference, but in general, not too much of a difference there. Width-wise, they're just about the same. I mean, I think the PPS is right at an inch, maybe a little under an inch. But if we put them on their backs, this is where you'll start to see a little more of the difference here. Now, the CCP comes with 2 8-round magazines. Okay, so you are going to get 2 more rounds right out of the gate, but that 2 rounds is going to come with a cost, and that's what you see right there. Stat sheet wise, 5.1 inches and 4.4 inches. Okay, so you're not quite a full inch there, but that makes a huge difference when you're carrying, because that's the grip is what you're trying to conceal. Okay, so if we take the 6-round mag out and we put the 7-round mag in, well, now they are practically the same with a couple of 1/10 of an inch according to the stat sheet here. Okay, 7 rounds, 8 rounds. Now the PPS M2 is a little bit older of a gun, so they've been able to redesign, and time is working against the PPS M2, and I fully expect, I have no idea, I have no inside information at all, but I fully expect there to be a new PPS type gun with hopefully increased capacity. That's what I can hope for. But spec-wise, they are pretty close. It's just when you get around to the grip length that you really start seeing some difference there. You know, a couple of ounces in the weight. You know, no big deal there. All right. So where are the main differences? Well, let's go over features here really quick. So you have front and rear slide serrations on the PPS M2, rounded off trigger guard, no spot for a light, laser, anything like that, but there are integrated trigger guard light and laser combos, I believe, for the PPS M2. Don't quote me on that. If you know that for sure, leave a comment down below. Let us know. Slight finger grooves here in the front. Traditional magazine release. So the original PPS, which we did do a review on, had the paddle magazine release. They opted to go with the M2 style, hence the name. And you can really choke up on the gun with the nice undercut they do under the trigger guard. And this grip texturing. I love it because it's not too aggressive, but it's aggressive enough. And I know I say this all the time, and people are probably like, you know what? I mean, it's just a grip texturing, but this makes a lot of difference. You know, if you're sensitive to this kind of thing, and let's be honest, there's some guns like the P365 or the M2.0 from Smith & Wesson, both great guns, but they will rough up your skin after a while. This has a really nice balance with those cross-directional squigglies, as I like to call them. Very minimal design on the PPS M2, which is something I appreciate. Slide stop right there, of course, and then you go to the right-hand side of the gun, and you don't have anything, no provisions for a left-handed shooter or anything like that, but you can reverse your magazine release, which is a nice touch for left-handed shooters, okay? Sights are big, white, bright dots, okay? And you can get the LE version, which is going to come with the night sight straight from the factory if you opt to do that. All right, loaded viewport right there so you can see your brass down in the chamber, okay? Overall, the gun, obviously it is a little bit smaller. My pinky's starting to hang off there. But for a single stack, it really does feel nice in the hand. Going over the CCP, you already get the Picatinny rail for your light or your laser, so you don't have to do a trigger guard mount if you don't want to do that. Squared off, definitely more squared off than the PPS M2 there. A little bit serrated, so if you do something like that, it's going to be a little bit more comfortable for you to hold on to. Again, even more of an undercut on the CCP M2 under the trigger guard there, okay? And one thing about this gun is I'm just going to tell you right off the bat, it feels fantastic in the hand. I mean, this gun, you pick it up and you're like, holy crap, man, this is like a small PPQ, like for real, small PPQ. It just feels so good in the hand, man. Slight finger groove there in the front. Again, if you're somebody that doesn't like that, I can't see that bothering very many people. It's very subtle, okay? Magazine release, you have this kind of guard right here where your thumb would kind of sit, and this magazine release is more angled towards the trigger guard. We'll talk about that here more in a little bit, but I just wanted to point that out. Front and rear slide serrations, of course, on this gun as well. You do have a manual safety, and you cannot opt out of the manual safety on the CCP M2. Okay, so if that's a deal breaker for you, well, then you're going to need to go with the PPS M2 because you can't get this gun without it. Slide stop, slide lock. All right, smaller than the PPS M2. More of a kind of an extension down here, just a base plate extension, just to finish the curvature of the grip there. Same type of grip texturing as on the PPS M2, cross-directional squigglies, which I really, really enjoy. All right, magazine release. You can reverse that on this gun as well if you would like to do that. You can see the mags have more of a stainless look on this version, okay? Other than that, right-hand side of the gun, no provisions for left-handed shooters, but of course on smaller guns like this, most of the time you're not going to get that anyways. You can see the extractors look a bit different. Haven't had a problem with either one of these guns besides the hang fire that was ammunition related in our Patreon video, but other than that, no issues to speak of at all with either one of these guns. Extractors look a little bit different. All right, and one thing I wanted to point out here is on the sights. You can see how much bigger and easier the PPS M2 sights are to pick up compared to the CCP M2, okay? Obviously much bigger. These are kind of recessed into the sight holder themselves. I'm not sure. I mean, this gun shot great. You're about to see that here in a minute, but it just very different on the sight picture, okay? So I just wanted to point that out. You do have a striker indicator in the rear here. All right, see your red dot goes away whenever you release the internal striker, of course. Okay, 3 different versions of this gun as well: a stainless version, Viridian laser version. So you have options. That's one thing that Walther does straight from the factory. They normally give you 2 or 3 options depending on what you want to go with. Okay. And then you do have a small loaded viewport up top on the CCP as well. One thing I really like about the German guns is you can see the German stamping and all on the slide, especially on the PPS M2. I don't know if the import restrictions were different for the CCP. Not sure how that worked, but I do like the import marks on the PPS. Doesn't make much of a difference, just a personal little thing right there, okay? Let's talk about breakdown here really quick, then we'll take you guys to the range with us. On the PPS M2, it's simple, pretty much like you guys are used to. Make sure you're clear, pull the trigger, pull back on the slide, it releases. On the CCP M2, this is where they made a big improvement. No tools needed. All right, you're gonna make sure it's clear, drop your striker. You have a little tab right here. You're gonna push that over. It's going to pop out just like that. And then you're going to pull back, lift up just a little bit, and it's going to pull right off. Okay? Much different design here, as you can tell. Fixed barrel. All right? Supposed to increase the accuracy, and I can tell you, don't want to ruin anything, but this gun is accurate. All right? And you have delayed gas blowback system on this gun. There's soft coil technology. We talked about that all in the initial review, but I'm about to show you how they shoot back to back here in a minute. But overall, the guns are different. They obviously use different types of systems, okay? You have your piston right here, putting this back together. The biggest thing is you want to make sure this piston lines up with the hole right underneath the barrel. I don't know if you can tell that, but there's a hole right under the barrel. You just want to make sure that piston goes in there. So spring in. The easiest way I found to do it is just like this. You're going to make sure that piston lines up in the hole just like that. Pull it back. Put your spring back in there. Let it click into place. There you go. PPS M2. All right. Captive dual recoil spring there. Barrel, all of that good stuff. Rails. Striker fired. Of course. Now, you do have somewhat of a striker indicator. It is a striker indicator on the back of the PPS M2 as well. See that little black dot right there? It's going to protrude. Comes out, and then it goes away as well. Okay, so if you like that feature, both guns have them. Let's take you to the exciting part of the review, the range trip. And then after that, we'll talk about the triggers, pros and cons, do some more comparisons with them, and which one we like better and why. We'll see you guys in a minute. But I had a couple extra shots. All right, so hopefully you guys enjoy that. As you can see, both guns are really awesome at the range. I mean, really, and it's an awesome time that we're living in because you can buy a small gun like this and still take it to the range and enjoy yourself. Although you're going to be reloading a lot, it's still a great time to be in right now because of all the options we have and the fact that these guns are just amazing at the range. Okay, so let's start with the CCP M2. Very different kind of design here. So let's drop the mag, make sure we're clear. What you have on the trigger is, if you pick this up in a gun shop and you're like, man, I really want to try this, and you pull the trigger, you're probably going to go to something else because you're going to say, man, this is junk. Pull the trigger back, really spongy, kind of stacks a little bit, gets heavier, then it pulls. The reset, pretty much all the way out. Pull it again. It does not feel good at all. It just, if you go in a gun shop and you expect to pull this amazing, light, crisp trigger, the CCP M2 is not that gun. All right, let's check it on the scales. I almost guarantee it's going to be heavier than the PPS M2. Maybe not. It's only pulling 5 pounds, 4 ounces. Let's try it again. 5 pounds, 11 ounces. No dingus or anything like that. Not the best trigger in the world. PPS M2, it's going to be more of a traditional style trigger than what most people are used to. Okay, dingus right there. You hit a wall, and it breaks. Reset. Break. It actually does not feel like the lightest trigger either, which is not necessarily something you want. Oh, I was wrong. 6 pounds on this one. Pretty close, though. 5 pounds, 13 ounces. So, 5 pounds, 11 ounces, 5 pound, 13, 6 pounds. Point being, these guns are very different feeling when you pull the triggers. They're not lightweights. Again, that's not something you want on a concealed carry gun. But they're just very different. Now, here's where it starts to get strange because you take them to the range. At that point, if you have a range that will rent these two to you, that would probably be the best thing. But both of these guns are really, really good shooters. The CCP is probably the most accurate small single stack gun I've ever reviewed. It is just that good. I've had some awesome groups with this thing and some groups I just showed you guys. I mean, this gun is just a great shooter. They both feel really good in the hand. This one, it seems like it does have a little bit more recoil, but then again, you also have a little bit of a shorter grip. It's not as comfortable to hold on to. It's going to be one of those balancing things. Like, do you want 2 more rounds? Is that extra grip length worth it to you? Those are things you're going to have to answer. But what I can answer for you and what I can tell you is, in my experience, both guns at the range are fantastic. Mag release is better on this gun, in my opinion. The mags pop out freely. I really like that. The button magazine release is easy to get to. No problems there. One thing we noticed with the CCP M2, because you have this guard here, okay, it makes it sometimes you think you're pressing the magazine release when you're not, and you got to give it a little bit more force to get it out of there. The mags do pop out easily and freely, which I do like. All right, it's just a little bit more difficult to get to this one compared to the PPS M2. Breakdown of the PPS. Again, this isn't something I would normally talk about as being a pro, but compared to the CCP, breakdown on this gun, a little bit easier, although they've simplified this to basically nothing, but it is definitely easier. Trigger is more consistent on this gun, and this is one of those things that makes this review hard because both guns are absolutely great. Actually, the CCP to me is a better shooter, but the PPS M2 has a better trigger on it. Go figure. I don't know. That's kind of what makes it hard. Now, the sights on this gun are way better than the CCP. If you're going to get a CCP, I'd probably look at upgrading the sights because they're just hard to pick up. Even out the range, it's sunny outside, 70-degree weather. This is just a hard sight picture to pick up. Now, that does not mean that the PPS is not without its cons compared to the CCP, and this is going to be, again, a subjective thing, whatever you want to do with your gun. But if you want to attach a light or a laser, maybe you say, hey, I need to buy one gun that I can carry or potentially carry, that I can keep in the home, whatever, then this CCP may be a better option for you because it's a more well-rounded, all the way around, one size fits all type of gun. You have your light and laser that you can hook right to the Picatinny rail without going through any kind of special attachments or anything like that. And also this gun is going to be a little bit more difficult when you're shooting at the range if you want a decent range gun. Less capacity compared to the PPS. So this review is not that easy to do. It's really one of the harder comparison reviews we've done, but we have taken the time and sacrifice to put ourselves out there and do this review for you. And it's going to come down to some kind of a winner, which I'm going to tell you right now. And the one I have to choose is the PPS M2, okay? Now, the reason I say this, I've pretty much gloated on the CCP, especially at the range and all of this kind of stuff, this whole video. But the reason I say this is these guns are both aimed at concealed carry. It's not like this one is concealed carry and this one is a range gun. This is concealed carry pistol, okay? That's what it's designed for. And it's designed to give you more features, giving you a more comfortable gun, you know, maybe something that you're more accurate with or you're more comfortable with. Some people don't like these smaller guns where their pinkies are going to hang off and all of that kind of stuff. But me, personally, I'm going to take those few shortcomings of the PPS M2 because it is more comfortable to carry every single day. All right, you put it in a holster like a Tolster holster or whatever, carry a backup mag, you got 15, 16 rounds on you at all times, and the gun just shines in that role. And it's a good shooter. And it's got a good set of sights. And you can get the night sight straight from the factory on this gun. I just think it offers more in this role. If we're just talking about strictly at the range, I'm taking the CCP because regardless of what this trigger shows on paper, it's an awesome gun. It's a great shooter. Feels great in the hand. This gun is awesome. But I also don't like this manual safety, okay? And I understand that you can bypass this. You can leave it off, but knowing my luck, this thing is going to end up on. I'm going to have to use it. I'm going to be fumbling around because I wasn't prepared for it or whatever. That's not an excuse on the gun because this gun comes with that, okay? You should, if you're going to buy this gun, you should learn to swipe the safety every single time, even if you're not going to use it at the range. Every time before you shoot around, you should be doing this, okay? That's not a fault of the gun because that's what the gun comes with, but for me, and this is why we're in such an awesome time because you can choose similar guns with different features that fits, you know, a lot of different people. But me personally, I don't want to have to deal with the manual safety. The internal safeties are great. They've been used for a long time, and I trust Walther wholeheartedly. I think these guys make an awesome pistol, but I just think the PPS gives you a little bit more, while oddly enough giving you less, you know, less weight, less grip length to deal with, few less rounds, couple less rounds. I don't like that, but when it comes down to it, for concealed carry, I like the PPS M2, and that's why it's stayed in my rotation for over 3 years now. Awesome gun. What I would like to see is a combination of both of these guns with a little bit higher mag capacity. Now, I know what you guys are going to say, oh, SIG P365. Yes, it's time for some of these companies to start stepping up and saying, hey, we need to keep up. We need to start giving some real competition to the P365. And if we get a mixture of these two guns, keeping it around this size or smaller with increased capacity, yes, you can bet I will be buying one for sure. But as far as right now, in June of 2019, PPS M2 is my pick for the better gun. Both of them are great, but I want to hear what your opinion is down in the comments below. Which gun you like the best and why. We will see you guys in the next one. And as always, hold them down.